Hi, this is Zach Meir with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Wednesday, the 6th of August. Starting with the FTSE 100, where one would like to say that the excitement is overwhelming, but not quite that overwhelming at the moment. But we are in or near the record territory areas, still looking for 92.40 at the top of that red trend channel there from back at the end of May. So hopefully that will be hit by the end of this month. And best case is that get up to 9,400 by the end of next month, giving this market a bit more time. Obviously, there's no reason why we shouldn't get up to 9,400 if some wonderful news arrives. On the downside, the top of the old green trend channel from last year and the floor of the red channel, 90.60, are or is the potential support zone for this market. Not really expecting anything on the wrong side of 9,000 from now on, hopefully. Moving on to the DAX, which has been trying to regroup after the rug pull that we had last week. Here you can see that still trying to get up to the top of the gap there at 24,400. Needed end of day close back above that, and ideally we get back above the July resistance line there over the next week or two. Top of the channel here towards 25,400. That's our best case scenario target for the end of this month. If we can get a swift gap fill and a break of that July resistance line. At the moment, the problem is that the RSI is still below neutral 50 at 47. So if you are not happy with this market, you could be a seller into strength up to the top of that gap, especially given the way that the 50-day line is now falling. The Dow is next, and here you can see that we have been trying to get back into the previous range, which was, I suppose, around 43,700, 43,800 to 45,000. We are back in there, and we're back above 44,000, but it looks as though, or it feels as though we're still a long way away from the top of the range and record highs at 45,000. So the missing ingredient at the moment is the RSI still just below the neutral 50 level. That needs to be changed, hopefully, today. On the downside, not expecting anything now lower than the 50-day line, 43,500. On to the cryptos that we look at. The first one is Bitcoin, which continues to be a little bit disappointing in the sense that we're on the wrong side of the previous range floor at 115,000. Want to see an end day close back above that to give us a potential journey to 130,000 at the top of that rising trend channel from back in March. That's probably the best case scenario target for the end of this month, even though obviously we've got all those Bitcoin treasury companies buying Bitcoin at rather high prices, one could say. Floor of the channel and the old May resistance of 112,000, as is the 50-day line. So that's nominal support at the moment. If we do break down, then July support towards 106 is the obvious destination. Moving along to Bitcoin, where some are hoping that this will sort of decouple itself from the situation at Bitcoin and head for record levels. At the moment, though, we're just at the top of the old rising trend channel from March. That's around the 3,600 level. Above that, looking for up to 4,400 at the top of that, the upper parallel of that rising trend channel by the end of next month now, given how slow the price action has become. On the downside, worst case at the moment would be a move down to the 50-day line around the 3,000 zone, but obviously that keeps on rising by the day. Ideally, we've seen the low in there around 33.60. Going on to gold, and here still a matter of trying to break that 34.30 April resistance line. If we can do that quickly, then we might have a chance of at least retesting the highs of the year through 3,500. Best case is up to 3,800, the top of that rising trend channel from April by the end of next month, while we're above the recent support zone at 32.20. RSI at 55, so in a good place for potential move to the upside, and we've also got that rising 50-day moving average. Moving along to the stocks, and starting off with a stock which presumably hardly anyone's heard of. It is CT Automotive, but we have gapped through the 200-day moving average. We're in a rising trend channel base from January. Top of the channel there at 53 pence, and that's the target we're looking for by the end of next month, while we remain above recent support around 33 pence on an end-of-day close basis. Just got the first signs that Catenai is starting to rebound. With a falling wedge here. Disappointing, obviously, that we fell below the rising 50-day line, but we just need to break that resistance line there from May. That's around 0.25. If we can do that, then we could have a journey back to the mid-30s by the end of this month. But obviously, we don't want to see another push back below 0.2 pence. And ideally, we want to see an end-of-day close for the RSI back above neutral 50. It's still below that level at the moment. On to Cobra, which seems to be up and away in terms of its price action. We've had unfilled gaps to the upside, and we've already been looking for, well, we've already hit the second target there, around two pence above that, looking for up to 3.5 pence by the end of this month, which is the upper parallel of those resistance lines there from October and January last year. So Cobra looks to be well on its way. Had a request for Europa oil and gas, and here I was thinking about, really, given how good the price action's been. Unfilled gap to the upside last week, or rather at the beginning of this week, and now we've gone through the May resistance around 0.72, as well as the 200-day line at 0.7. Above the combination of that, we're looking for the top of that broadening triangle there from back at this time last year at 105. And we could even see that by the end of this month, given the two unfilled gaps to the upside we've had off the lows. Fusion is another stock which was requested in good time here, actually, I think towards the 7 pence area. Current situation here is that we're heading towards 14 pence by the end of this month, while we're above late July resistance around 10.8 pence. So hopefully Fab will come up with the goods. Faron Pharmaceuticals is next, and here decent bounce, bear trap rebound from below the 200-day line there at 191, above the 50-day line at 210 pence, and recent resistance looking for as high as £2.95 by the end of next month at the top of that rising trend channel from May last year. RSI also pushed through neutral 50, which helps. Bit of a wild card look at this one, the next one here, which is Hot Rocks. Here we've got the shares bouncing off an uptrend line and bouncing above the rising 50-day line at 1.15 pence. While we're above that particular combo, looking for a best case scenario target as high as 3.5 pence, maybe over the next 2 to 3 months. I suppose the earliest would be the end of next month. But as I said, this just looks like a bit of a wild card, and looks as though it is ready to move, as it already is doing. Incanthera is next, and here are the shares up with a gap and also with a rising 50-day line as well. It's a bear trap island reversal because we gapped down in November and gapped up now, which is normally a decent sign. RSI has also been above 50, neutral 50, since the beginning of last month. You can see from the news that we got the launch of Skin Plus Cell, which is apparently on Monday, which is obviously very exciting for all those who want to look after their personal beauty. In terms of the upside on the share price, we've got 9.5 pence, which is a resistance line there from back in November, and we're looking for that as a minimum while we're above the 50-day line there, 4.75 pence. Moving along to the last three. The first one is Mosman, which seems to be stirring finally. We've got a sort of W-shaped turnaround there, neckline resistance at 0.027. Above that, looking for 0.04, hopefully by the end of this month, especially if we can get a decent end-of-day close above the 50-day line, 0.030 today. Had the feeling that Rockfire could be able to bounce well, and so far it's doing that. The interesting part here is that it looks as though the 200-day line is now rising in addition to the 50-day line, which means we're going to a golden cross, and the run up to a golden cross tends to be the strongest part of the cycle. Therefore, the rather optimistic call here that we can head up to 0.22 pence by the end of next month, or even sooner, is still valid, especially as we've broken recent neckline resistance around 0.12. So the longer we stay above that, the better the look for this stock. Finishing off with Tiger Royalties, which seems to be making decent noises in terms of trying to break the recent downtrend, obviously the peak at the end of June. And End of day close above that resistance line from last month, probably around the 1.75 level. So from here higher could take the shares at least up to around the 2.1, 2.2 pence area over the next couple of weeks. The only missing ingredient at the moment is the way the RSI is still below neutral 50. So that needs to be sorted out maybe tomorrow for us to feel chipper about the upside. And the upside valid at least while we're above the 200-day line, currently rising at 1.35 pence. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.